When I looked at myself in the mirror, it was such a beautiful opportunity for me to see I was not loving. I was not kind. I was not being the light. I was not tapping into my fullest potential. I was not coming from my highest self. And I got to see, wow, she allowed me to see what was there for me to see, for me to transform, transcend, elevate, and come from within for the love, the love, the love that I am.
I want to talk about on this vein of being triggered because situations can trigger us, but most of the time it's people. And as I have said in the introduction, you were one of, no, I'm not even going to say one of, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to say the most loving, non judgmental, emotionally mature, compassionate people I've ever met. And I feel very grateful to have you model that for me because that's definitely who I want to be. I really am asking this question for me, but especially for people who have a very hard time letting go and forgiving.
Mm.
So, what would you say to somebody who wants to forgive, or maybe they don't? Maybe they don't want to forgive.
Mhm.
And yet there's something within their soul that knows carrying that around, that's really causing some dis-ease for
Mhm.
sure. What would you say to them?
Mhm.
What's your message of love?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for what you shared about the experience, our experience together. I can assure you it hasn't always been that way. I've not always been that way, right? It's been gradual over time to elevate to this space of having eyes to see the truth, having eyes to be able to cut through and move past and be able to almost like, what's the word, Leigh-Ann, that being able to see through something. What is that called? X-ray vision, so to speak, be able to cut through and see what's really there. And so when I see what's really there and I know what's really there and it's who you were born to be, it's your highest self, as you said, you know that's inside of you. And that's what I see in you. It's what I know to be true. And it is a set of eyes in which I've been given now to be able to see and to know and to be. And again, this version that you just shared of the experience with me has not always been that way for sure. So let's just make sure that we get that very clear. Like, wait a minute, my experience with Patricia was not quite that way. No, back in the day, probably not, because this is our growth, this is our journey. And Leigh-Ann, this idea that along our journey and how I have been able to reach this level, because I have not always been here. And again, there are times where I have greater opportunity to be here. If I am not really suiting up and showing up to that level of being, the experience won't be the same. I can assure you. I simply every day and in every way do my very best to suit up and show up and connect and tap into that. And it's now my more natural way of being and more natural experience with people. And that's now how I'm so blessed to be able to, be with the people and have the experiences that we have. Whether it's those I'm working with or it's whether those who I interact with at the grocery store or along the way. And so when we're looking at this journey of people, oh goodness, and those gems, I now look at them as treasures. I now look at them as gifts, absolute gifts in my life. There are people in my life, whether they are teachers from my past, whether they're coaches, whether they're friends from my past, present, and probably into the future, relationships close to me or far. There are people in my life that have been great teachers, great treasures, gifts. And in that, what I mean is, those teachers that you just felt so aligned with, or saw you, or knew, or were there for you, or friends. And I bring to mind, and along my journey, I was given the idea that the Dalai Lama shared that we have two kinds of friends, and maybe others, but I'm aware of these two that he speaks to. The first one is the friend, right? That friend that is so loving, so kind, so caring, so nice, so easy to be with, and so aligned. Like love is in the air. And then we have, and that's what we have, right, Leigh-Ann? Just love, 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 joy, fun. And as I've shared with you, right, that this is such a high level that no matter what we have life, we're experiences we have, even challenges that we may face in opportunities in our own lives, that when we come together, it's like the angels sing, right? But we're together, so all is well in our world. And those teachers we learn from, those teachers we grow from, those teachers that's easy, that's fun, that's where I love being. And along our journey, we will also have teachers that, as the Dalai Lama has mentioned, sacred teachers. He's titled them sacred teachers. So I've learned a lot from teachers, and I've learned a lot, and sometimes even more, from the teachers that have taught me what never to do, who never to be, what never to say, because of how it felt in my life. So when, again, we look for the gift, I've had opportunities where someone shows up and they are not very nice in my life. And maybe they've said things that were not very nice about me or to me, and it didn't feel good. And so we will have these opportunities in our life. And the moment we can recognize, again, okay, where's the gift? They're a gift. They're right here. When I was little, I had three older brothers. I also had friends on the playground. And there was something that if somebody said, well, you're this, you're that. And the feedback could be, well, I know I am, but what are you? Or, that feedback. What I know is that we can't see in another that isn't inside of ourselves. When we see beauty, you said, Leigh-Ann, you have this relationship with me. Yes, I'm a mirror of you. I'm simply a mirror of you. We have this, we're mirroring. And then the idea that, wait a minute, then we have this other that is not so pretty, not so nice, not so loving, not so kind, not so easy, really triggering. How could that be me? And when we recognize we're living in a mirror, right? We're living in mirrors all around, mirrors, mirrors, mirrors for ourselves. Again, the opportunity to return to love. And when the Dalai Lama speaks to those who are lovable are easy to love, those who really appear unlovable, they teach us. They teach us. They're our greatest teachers of love. Now, that's a mastery moment right there. Because wait, how would I love somebody that did harm to me? How would I love somebody that inflicted that on me? How would I love somebody that would act that way towards me? How could I stay inside of love with this when I want to be mad and take that with me? And as you mentioned, if I keep the anger, if I keep the resentment, if I keep the, as you said, where we start out the victim of how did this happen to me? And whoa, 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 what about me? If we keep that inside, that's where the dis-ease, right? That is dis-ease. And it's been said that if we hold on to that, it's like drinking poison, hoping that the other one gets sick. All the while we're drinking the poison. So is it about, forgiving someone and then letting that back in? No. Is it about forgiving someone and, we could look at a lot of ways about forgiving another and what that would mean. Is it about forgiving someone and then what they did, then that makes it okay? No, no, no. It is about giving up and returning to love here and coming from love with the great opportunity to find the gift that is here for us, many times to release the very thing that they're mirroring for us. And if they're mirroring for us a horrible and horrific experience from our past, how do we find the gift in that? The gift is being able to return to love inside, come from love, release, and no longer need to recreate that and to live that and to have that still be playing in our life. There's a process. So in any of what we're speaking about, it's just like I remember being at an event with Tony Robbins 30 years ago. And Tony was speaking about, if you just see it differently, it will be different. And I was so pumped because there was something happened in my life. And I thought, okay, I'm going to see it differently. I'm going to believe it could be different. And the next day I awakened and nothing had changed. Oh, must not work, Tony. Great work, but it didn't work for me, Tony. It's a process. And now I get what he was saying. And yet know that this is just beginning steps in answering your question. There's always a process. There's always more to this. I always love to think that in this conversation, especially Leigh-Ann, I bring to mind Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer. He's no longer here, and yet he is such a great teacher, spiritual teacher, teacher of how to return to love, teacher of how to forgive, a teacher. And he studied, not only did he study life itself, he studied the masters and masters and masters of all time and of our time. And those are the footsteps that I follow in. And when he speaks to that, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And why I love that so much is because those are the eyes now I see with. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. In the experiences, and we've spoken a little bit about an experience I had where somebody was really, really, really showing up in my life and really triggering me because they were saying things about me that I didn't believe to be true. That's not me. Saying things about me to pit people against me, saying things about me. And I was doing my best to be nice and let it slide. And no, it's not gonna bother me. What was bothering me? I'll slap a smile on my face and pretend that I'm okay. It was still bothering me. And we had an opportunity where we showed up for several days in a row. And then I thought, you know what? I'll take the high road and I'll go around and not be in the presence of this person. And I'll just let it go. And it was bothering me and it was triggering me. And I was doing my best because this was earlier, many years ago, but earlier into my spiritual elevation and doing everything I thought I could do. And I did. And then I lost it. I lost it. It was no secret, although I was trying to keep it a secret, that I was really upset. I didn't fight this person. I didn't go to them and say, you, blah, 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 which I could have said a lot. I didn't go there. That wasn't when fear comes up or when challenges come my way. I'm a type of person, at least back in the day, I wouldn't charge forward and fight. And based upon what my coach said, I knew that fighting only made things escalate. So I removed myself. Sometimes I froze in the midst of what was happening, but still, all the while, it didn't change. And then I had a tipping point. I had a trigger. I had a breaking point. What I know about every breaking point, and even at the time, wow, this didn't feel good for me. Every breaking point is not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough for a breakout and a break, up. I went home. I was very triggered and I was furious. I started speaking out loud. I was enraged. I was saying really ugly things about this person out loud to no one in my home. And my head was spinning. I was not nice. I became a version of myself that was not pretty. I became the exact opposite of what you just shared that you see that I am. And as I was in my fury and as I was in my moment, I thought, oh my goodness, if I look in the mirror, and I did, I have just become the very version that she is telling everyone I am. Not all the things that she was saying that I was doing, but in the same vein, when I looked at myself in the mirror, it was such a beautiful opportunity for me to see I was not loving. I was not kind. I was not being the light. I was not tapping into my fullest potential. I was not coming from my highest self. And I got to see, wow, she allowed me to see what was there for me to see, for me to transform, transcend, elevate, and come from within for the love, the love, the love that I am. This is very deep. However, this is how powerful it is. The moment I could see all of this, and again, I had been along the path of elevation. So this wasn't my first day at school here. I recognized, oh my goodness, what a gift this is, because she showed me something. She allowed something. There was something that came up because of her that allowed me to see something that is very helpful for me to this day. And the moment I could see that was the very moment, no pretenses. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what a gift, what a gift, what a gift. Thank you, God, what a gift. All of the days leading up still didn't feel great, but all of a sudden I could hear the angels sing like, all of this for me to rise above and go beyond and be free. There was a freedom, and she was at the core of that. And so, no kidding, when I say I was free, all I could feel was love. All I could feel was joy. All I could feel was that she was a gift in my life and that she had been put in my life. And she was somebody who I knew and had known for quite a long time. And there had always been a bit of a trigger, and I never really knew what. No kidding, when all of that came up and all of the elation and elevation and bliss came to my heart, the next day I saw her. We're at an event, and I came around the corner and she was coming around the corner this way. And literally, we almost ran into each other. And in that moment that I saw her, all I could feel is love. All I could feel is elation. All I could feel is joy. And I literally had this huge smile, and so did she. A mirror to me. She wasn't herself that she had been. Huge smile with me. We embraced. Not one word was said. We embraced, and with such gratitude for her, knowing in the concept of a sacred friend, a gift to me, given to me. And we released, we went on. And whenever I think of her, whenever her name is said, there are people in my life that say, oh, your friend, meaning the one that used to trigger you. And I say, yes, she is my friend. And all I can feel, even when I think about her now, is joy, love, appreciation, and gratitude for the gift I was given by my sacred friend. So I share that story because whether it's a person, whether it's experience, whether it's a result, again, when we change the way we look at things, everything begins to change. Does it happen overnight? More than likely not. When we get to a space and a place where we really build that muscle of being able to use those eyes, yes, quicker, faster, easier than ever. And yet we all are given sacred friends, sacred experiences, and opportunities to grow, and for growth, to return to joy, return to love, return to peace, return to that elevated frequency, because that, I believe, is why we're here. Navigating, transforming, transcending, and elevating ourselves. And when we do, creating an elevated being. And when we are, an elevated result, which then creates an elevated life. Thank you for being here, and thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing this message with another who may benefit. By doing so, what happens is you help us reach more people to really inspire, empower, and help elevate the lives of others. Know that I look forward to being with you again very soon.